Welcome back to the Urbstead, everybody. Today is the end of an era. It has been a very, very incredible time, but I do have some big news. Ah. All right, so let me start off by saying it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, this is good news. It is a little bit different. Things are going to have to change, and we're going to have to pivot and feel things out. But I'm guessing you who are watching are going to be okay with that. Not that long ago, I was filming a video, one that you've seen already, the composting video, tag here. And during the filming of that video, I received a phone call. And this phone call was from a friend who I haven't spoken to in years, maybe once in the past year, just in passing. But in any regular fashion, it's been about 5 years since I've seen and talked to this person. And long story short, I have accepted a position as an engineer yet again. And I will be working a part-time job. So, the Urbstead is changing. I'm going back to work. It's not going to look like what it normally would look like. Obviously, a full-time job is way different than a part-time job. I will be working 2 days a week, and it is a job that I'm really excited for. I'm stoked, actually. That is new to me because I guess the reason that it's new to me is the fact that I've never gotten a phone call out of the blue about a job that ended up panning out or anything like that. I guess the thing that's most exciting to me is that none of this was in my control. None of this was planned for. None of this was thought up. I didn't even have it on the table. And in fact, I'll tell you, about the month before this has been happening, I have been having thoughts that I'm okay with never being an engineer again. And here we are. I cannot relate it to anything other than the fact that God has a sense of humor, and he loves seeing the look on your face when the big reveal happens. So, I'm blessed. I cannot be more excited, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity, but that does mean things are going to have to change. Now, I did the whole intro thing to just try and get more views, obviously. So the reality is I'm not done. I'm not leaving this behind. YouTube and content creation, editing videos, doing all of these little things and projects in the garden, these are all still a passion of mine. And I have loved these past 9 months so dearly that I don't think I ever want to stop doing this kind of thing. What it does mean, though, is that the schedule and the timing of things is going to have to flex with how our family is going to flex. And to me, this is just sort of a changing of the seasons. It's kind of ironic that for the first day of fall was, 3 or 4 days ago, and we are moving into a literal new season here with autumn coming. But also, the Urbstead itself is changing into a new season. And that season will involve a slower pace for videos, both of the shorts length as well as the full length content for videos. And as of right now, I'm not totally sure what that's going to look like. I believe I want to shoot for maybe every 3 weeks, putting out a long form video. And perhaps if it's a very in-depth video, maybe it would be pushed out to the 4th week. I'm not sure. The shorts, on the other hand, are going to be a lot more just whenever it comes. A lot of content can be filmed very shortly with 15-second clips. And so there will be times when maybe I'm doing a project in the garden and I'll film pieces of those documenting steps that we take, in which case maybe there will be a whole week where we actually have a video every day. But maybe there will also be a week where only one short comes out. With the changing of this schedule and how often I'm able to put things out, I know that I will come to these thoughts and feelings of I'm not good enough, or I'm inadequate, I'm not putting out enough content, my audience is just going to fall apart, there's no continuity. All of those thoughts I'm sure are to come. And right now I'm thankful that I can actually think through those things and maybe expect some of those things ahead of time, to just be aware of the reality that those will come up. I don't really know if I can actually help it by talking about it right now, but I realize that those are potentially on their way. And that's okay. That is a battle that I'm okay with fighting. And it's a battle that I think is worth fighting for the sake of continuing this channel for a couple reasons. I would love to find out one day that this channel has had a positive impact on the viewers' lives. Whether that's one person starting a garden where they wouldn't have otherwise, and they make good memories in the garden, that's enough. Or as big as someone choosing to go into homesteading and farming and agriculture and permaculture and regenerative design and all of these areas, maybe even as a full-time career. Which, frankly, if I knew these things that I know when I was younger and could choose to go into those things, I might have. Regardless, I think this channel can be that. And that's what my hope is. My other hope, frankly, is to continue to grow this so that it can become that source of income, or at least a side hustle for our family. I've never wanted to go into our future as a family with all of our eggs in one basket. I don't feel like I have the luxury to do that. I know that we have a big leg up in the fact that Julia is a nurse, and I know that that is an incredibly strong resource in terms of a financial security for our family. But I also want to build other structures, other financial resources that we can lean on in the coming future. I know that there will be a day when we don't want Julia to work at all. We want her to stay home, or we want to leave the country, or we want to do whatever it is we feel called to do at the moment. And I know that the flexibility of content creation, of filming a vlog and shooting it and sharing that information with you guys, that flexibility is almost unmatched, period. So, for those few reasons, I don't know if I'll ever stop fully sharing our videos here with you guys. And I don't want to. But what I do want is I want to make sure that the content coming to you guys is fruitful. It's interesting, it's well edited, it's put together in a succinct way where I'm not stumbling over my words, which sometimes you get that from me, and where I'm not cramming it, the night before upload, and it's just lower quality than it could be. I would also love to dip my toes into the world of producing sounds and producing music so that I can be a source of background music that would be appealing and interesting enough to keep your attention while some time lapses are going in the background. I would love to hone all that content a little bit better, present you with a little bit more polished piece at the end of the week than I have been able to currently. I know it seems kind of silly because, I'm going to have less time in the fact that I'm going to be working 2 days a week, but I think if I push that due date out mentally for myself from a 1 week period to a 3 week period, or even a 4 week, I think I'll be able to have the mental space to do that. I'm not an incredible editor. I'm not a producer of music at all. In fact, I have dabbled in it once, and that is the background music that you'll be hearing in this video at some point. Does it even make sense? I don't know. I like it. Total experiment though. But I like to experiment with things. I like to learn new skills and push myself in new ways and challenging ways. And I like to see computer systems, different sort of software that is sort of like a blank slate that you can kind of figure out bit by bit. And each little piece you do figure out ends up with a higher quality product in the end. I love that. For those who are interested, what am I getting into? I'm, like I said, going back into engineering. Believe it or not, the role I'm going to be stepping back into is kind of a design role. If I could have picked any area of engineering that I would happily stay away from forever, it was actually design. It was a great position. It was great work. It's just, for some reason, it didn't mesh with my brain. But I'm stepping back into something that's very similar, and I am excited. So, who knows? Who knows what that means? I'll be using a program called Inventor. I've heard of it, I worked alongside it, but I never actually stepped into that world myself. And yeah, again, it's another large computer system that I'm looking forward to figuring the ins and outs of and making it work to what needs done. So is the Urbstead done? No. Are we done with doing projects here? Absolutely not. In fact, it feels like the opposite is true. It feels like now that we would have more structure, we're gonna maybe crank it up. As you saw with our last video, you know, we're dominating more of our yard day by day. Now we're gonna be taking an entire section of our lawn and turning it into an area that we're gonna try and grow wheat on. And we're not doing einkorn this time. We're gonna try more modern wheat to up the production of wheat berries and ultimately hopefully get more flour at the end of the day. I would argue that that's probably one of the larger scale changes that we've made in terms of a whole section of yard. That's kind of on par to building this first garden over here to my right, as well as building the side yard garden where all the raised beds are. And it's kind of exciting to be doing another project that size. I jokingly say that every year the Urbstead has doubled its growing space in terms of how much garden is actually being used for growing vegetables. And I thought for sure there was no way that the third year in that would be possible for me to say. And I don't have the exact numbers. I know that these beds are about 3 feet by 15 feet. And I know that the raised beds on the other side are about 3 feet by 7, and there's 3 deep, so it's 21 feet, and about 18 feet. And I know that the potato rows are about 2 feet by 10 feet. So I'm tempted to say that with this patch of grass that we are donating into the growing space, that's about 9 or 10 feet by 20 feet, 30 feet, 35 feet. I'd say we're pretty close to doubling yet again. I did not see that coming. And we'll see if it actually works. We'll see if it pans out. I currently am working to acquire some cardboard. Some good friends of ours who have construction business, they regularly get large pieces of cardboard from the different items that they get shipped to them. They're great, they're wonderful people, we love them, and she has said she's willing to see if they can start to collect some of that cardboard so that we can use it, which is great. Hopefully a win-win. It's probably a touch more effort on their side, so I hope that they're getting some benefit from this, knowing that it's going to go to a good cause. Again, thank you so much in case you happen to be watching. And then the next step after that will be gathering up compost, which that's going to be a much harder task because this is a lot of land and I want like 6 inches of compost. So we're going to have to see how creative we can get with figuring out what we can use on that plot. So that remains to be seen. But that's not the only big project. And as you know, we also have another project to finish up, and that is the rain catchment project, which you can see the tags here. This project is going to be a big one as well. We're going to be installing gutter on the entire back half of our house and adding in that big IBC tote, which is going to involve some plumbing work, some masonry work, and I'm really excited about that. On top of those two really big projects, we're always going to have little projects here and there. Some of those little projects include getting some more fruit trees. We lost a few in the fray this last summer, and it's time to replace those. We also need to relay some cardboard here in this front yard. As you can see, that there's some spots that are just really weedy, so we need to spot check those. Another small project that I would love to be able to get to a place where we can share with you and figure out together is grapes. We have just struggled for the past 3 years with grapes, and this year we're seeing success. This is the first success that we've seen with grapes of this scale. When this season finally comes to a close, We're going to take the largest vine that we find here and bring that as high up as we can to the top of the trellis here, and then we're going to clip it. We're going to cut everything else. And from what we've heard, that is the mode. You get one main vine, and you make that basically the body of the future grapevine. And then every year it's going to shoot out branches, and those branches are the branches upon which the grapes grow. That's another little project that I really want to be able to get to a place that I can share it and maybe get some feedback from you guys, the viewers, on. We're also taking on the adventure of meat chickens. And if you've seen some of our shorts, you've seen them starting to grow. And just now, 12 days later, the chicks have gone from tiny to, I'd say, 2.5 times the size. And it is wild to watch. You can almost see them grow each day. Part of me feels weird about that because the Cornish cross, there's some controversy behind the species being sort of hybridized and crossbred to make this product that in 8 weeks is harvestable. That feels a little weird to me, and I'm not totally sure how I can feel about it, but I wanted to try it out. It's the same meat, it's the same breed of chicken that as a country we eat millions of a day. So I'm in that case, I'm happy to experience it firsthand rather than just experiencing it as a bystander, eating it without the responsibility and experience of knowing the raising process. I'm not saying that everyone needs to do this or that I'm standing on this hill and I'll die on this hill, but I personally am excited to see that process, especially with this chicken. It also blows my mind that in 8 weeks a bird can be fully grown size-wise to be eaten. With meat birds, we're excited. We're going to be building a chicken tractor, and that's going to be hopefully a project that I can document really well and share because I'm really excited about the design that I came up with. It's going to be something that's easy to build, collapsible, and can be kind of stored for over the winter. I'm excited to see how that works out. I'm hopeful that we're going to enjoy these 8 lovely chickens as sustenance for our family and also a learning opportunity for us to just try raising meat for the first time. If it goes well, I think it's something that we can see ourselves doing in the future, next season. And I don't know, we'll just see where that takes us. So the Urbstead is changing, it's growing, it's evolving, it is doing what it should be doing. It's a living thing, I think, and as such, it can't stay stagnant in one shape and one form forever. And so that happens to be this time. My focus will be shifting from being entirely on the house, the family, and the content creating. I will now be adding to that list a couple days of the week doing the engineering gig again. And I'm excited about that. And I hope that if you have any questions or comments, that you'd be willing to share them down below or reach out to me personally if that's viable for you. What I do also want to make sure I say is that I have been so blessed by all of you who choose to watch, whether it's a video that gets 50 views, which are most of them, or the rare video that gets, a couple hundred views. I have been so giddy with just enjoyment in this whole process. Truthfully, I didn't know what to expect when starting the content creating and getting on a more rigid schedule where I put out a video every week. One thing I did expect was to get better at editing videos, and I did, and that's great. Another thing I expected was for our content and our channel to grow, which it did. The subscriber count went way up. It actually is almost to the 1,000 subscriber mark, which to me is a huge win. I did not expect that happening in the matter of 9 months. So all of those things are really great wins. And those aren't just because of me and what I'm doing. With getting this job the way I did, I am learning more and more that it's not about what I'm doing. It is partially about how I do it. And the effort that I'm willing to put in. But no, there's not much left to chance, as my dad and I like to say. So I'm grateful for that, as weird as that is to say. And I think a bug just went into my ear. I'm grateful for these, which, by the way, we're actually getting bell peppers this year, and some of them are actually turning red. I start picking them early, though, because I've noticed that, again, pests do get at them. But we've been experiencing a lot of winds in the garden, and we didn't do so hot with the garden challenge this year. It just kind of fizzled out. I fizzled out, really, more than anything. And what I finally came to with that is that I was being much more of a source of stress for my family than I thought the food issue was for me. So I stopped, and maybe next year we'll do it again. But also, maybe next year we'll just continue to do this thing that we're doing, which is trying to rely less on external sources and trying to provide more internally as a family and for those around us, where possible. As a first here, I want to share this, a first for the Urbstead. First time we have ever succeeded in growing a pumpkin of this size. Look at that thing. That thing is massive. This is a pumpkin pie pumpkin, so you can believe that this is going to be turning into some delicious pumpkin pie. There's one last thing I want to share with you guys. I found some friends in our carrot bed, and I didn't know what to do with them at first. Let me show you. Let me just tell you that I am super eager for these friends to evolve into butterflies. This is basically Pokemon here, guys. I was walking in the carrot bed and I found a number of black swallowtail caterpillars. I didn't know what they were at first. I'm not a bug guy, but I used my Pokédex, aka Google, and figured out they were, in fact, black swallowtail caterpillars. And here they are. We got 1, 2. There should be a baby. Oh, yeah, right down there. 3. Is that all? I thought there was 4. Nope, I think that's all. Super stoked to see these guys get their bellies filled up with carrot leaf and eventually turn into butterflies, which I would love to share with you guys. And in this lovely drying rack that we have, that we purchased off Amazon, it happens to double as the perfect caterpillar environment. We got back from the farmer's market the other day, and Julia realized, oh, you found those on the carrot bed. Let's feed them all these carrot greens from the carrots that we just bought at the farmer's market. And it has worked like a charm. To recap, yes, things are changing. No, the Urbstead is not done being the Urbstead. Yes, I'm getting a job again. No, it's not what I was expecting, nor was I thinking I would get a job or planning to get a job. Yes, we did need it. I just didn't think about it or realize it until it happened. And no, I'm not bummed to go back to work. But yes, I have loved this past 9 months. So that's as succinctly as I can put it. Thank you for sticking around if you have. And please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And again, comment down below with your thoughts and feelings about your own response to seeing someone do this for the past 9 months. Also, if you happen to have any information about how to care for a butterfly, please leave that down below as well. I think in about 10 to 20 days, it says, I will have to figure out how to maintain a butterfly. Or just release it. I'll leave that up to you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as always, grow on.